Yo, we are back with another 2K25 video, and today I have a Dwight Howard build for you. This is going to be a 6'10" inside center type of build. Going to be extremely dominant defensively, grab a ton of rebounds, great finishing on this build, super athletic, high vertical, good speed, good agility, and an extremely high strength. This is a build you can really take to any game mode and dominate. Everybody knows how good Dwight Howard was throughout his career, and I wanted to make a build to represent that. So that's what I got for you today. Real quick before we get started, drop a like, drop a sub, turn your notifications on. We are dropping consistent videos all through 2K25, and without further ado, let's get into this Dwight Howard build. All right, so starting out with the height, weight, wingspan, we are going to go position center, height 6'10", weight 251 pounds with a max 7'6" wingspan. Now, there's going to be a lot of people making 7-foot inside centers this year. I've already seen a whole bunch of them. I've made a few myself, but we are making this as close to Dwight Howard as possible, and a major benefit of that is getting a super high vertical compared to those 7-foot centers. We're also going to be quite a bit faster, but still be able to get the same or higher strength than most of them. We have a great layout with these physicals, and the stats that we get with this are pretty crazy too. So let's get started with the finishing. All right, so getting into the finishing here, we are going to go with a 79 close shot, 56 driving layup, 75 driving dunk, which honestly 75 this year, you get some pretty great animations and you get a lot of driving dunks with that lower-ish rating. But we do also get the 90 standing dunk, which is going to be what you're doing most of the time. That's going to unlock us a ton of the big man standing contact dunk animations. And then we also get the 67 post control on this build. With the combination of that 75 driving dunk and the 90 standing, you're going to be dunking super consistently. You get really good animations, like I mentioned, and we also get some really good badges on this build. We get bronze paint prodigy, silver float game, silver hook specialist, bronze posterizer, gold aerial wizard, gold rise up, which honestly is a very good finishing badge this year. I've talked about it in a lot of my videos. It activates super consistently, and the higher that you have it, this might seem obvious, but the higher that you have it, the more consistently you get dunk animations rather than doing like standing layups or anything like that. So this is an area where you could use a max +1 badge, get that on Hall of Fame. I do notice a big difference on a lot of my builds when I do that. But either way, the 90 standing dunk, great animations, you're going to be dunking a lot, and really just playing just like Dwight Howard in the paint. We also made sure to get the 67 post control just so we could get bronze post powerhouse and bronze post up poet. We have really solid finishing stats. This really isn't even the highlight of the build. The defense is what's going to carry us on this one, but you have good enough stats to be a threat on offense too, and you don't even need to space the floor to shoot. I'll explain that more in a minute. But yeah, I copied on these finishing stats, and let's start talking about the shooting. All right, so we do not have our shooting upgraded. Like I said, this is an inside center build, but let's talk about this for a second. I get a ton of comments on my inside center build videos saying you're a liability, saying this, saying that. If you play with a guard that has any idea what they're doing, these inside center builds are extremely dominant because we can't space the floor obviously, but we have high enough strength to set insane screens, get your guard open every time. Our rebounding is going to be really high. You're grabbing every board over the other team's center. Inside centers will always rebound better than stretches, even if it's just by a little bit, just because they have more attribute points to use other places. You just have to know when to slip, when to roll, when to hold the screen. And once you figure out how to play on these, they're really dominant, really hard to stop. And the lack in shooting you make up for in a bunch of other areas. But to wrap that up, anybody hating about inside center builds, come play me on mine and I'll show you how good they really are. Obviously, again, shooting not the highlight of this build, but let's get on to the playmaking. All right, so Dwight Howard only averaged about an assist and a half throughout his entire career. And I love 71 pass accuracy this year, so that's what we went with on this build. You're still going to get bronze break starter and silver diamond on this build. Obviously, if you're bringing this build to the rec, you don't want to be throwing full court passes the entire game. You'll be able to get them down there, but the catches won't be the best. But in any kind of park setting, 2s or 3s, this is more than enough. I've used it all year on different builds. 40 ball handle and 40 speed with ball obviously don't really do much for you, but you will be able to run a little bit if you catch it on a roll or if you're running on the break. But it's just not what this build's meant to do. We're coming out here to play defense and dunk the ball, set big screens, grab rebounds. That's what Dwight Howard did in real life. So let's get on to the real highlight of this build in the defense and rebounding. All right, so here it is, our defense stats. We are going with an 82 interior, 72 perimeter, 73 steal, 84 block, 94 offensive rebound to start, and an 80 defensive rebound. Now, starting this out, we are going to put our +5 cap breakers on offensive rebound, get legend rebound chaser. Putting those cap breakers and getting legend rebound chaser will also help us unlock legend box out beats with the strength that we have, I'll talk about in a second. And we'll also be getting Hall of Fame pogo stick, which is really good this year. It's kind of not really talked about very much, but being able to to get that second jump super quickly is really helpful, especially when you're a little bit undersized playing against 7-foot centers all the time. But some other badges we get right off rip: silver paint patroller, silver off-ball pest, silver post lockdown, bronze challenger, silver immovable enforcer. It's another difference between this build and the 7-foot centers. You're able to move a little bit, play better defense on the perimeter, just not quite as slow, which is super helpful. Makes it easier for your teammates, just makes you more versatile in general. We're also going to get silver interceptor and bronze glove, as well as silver high flying denier with our block rating that we have. These are some great defensive stats. You also have to remember we are 6'10" with a maxed wingspan. Arms are super long, you're athletic, our strength is crazy. You're gonna be bumping people, snagging boards over any centers you're playing, sending a ton of shots back just like Dwight Howard in real life. And these defensive stats, along with our physicals, are another reason that inside centers are so good, because we are able to put these defensive stats and rebounding stats so high. So even though you can't shoot, you can dunk, and you're gonna be getting the ball back for your team so much more on the defensive end. Everybody loves playing with a build like this because they get unlimited chances on offense. I know I'm definitely not complaining when I have a super dominant inside center on my team snagging every board. It kind of cancels out the algorithm in shooting this year, because if you miss, you know there's a good chance the center's getting the rebound. It's just a lot of things like this that people don't think about that really do make these inside centers very, very good. Like I said though, it's not just the defense, our physicals are really good too, so let's check those out now. All right, and onto the physicals. We are going to go with a 74 speed, 67 agility, 94 strength, which I'll talk more about in a second, and an 88 vertical. So the 94 strength, we got a +1 cap breaker for level 40 of this season, which will make that 95. And then I am 99% sure 2K is going to drop another level 40 cap breaker for season 3. I've already made multiple builds around that. There's no way they don't drop another cap breaker here coming up in one of these seasons pretty soon. And then when I do end up getting that other level 40 cap breaker, I'm going to put that up to a 96 strength, which is what's going to get us Hall of Fame Brick Wall and Legend Box Out Beast. There's some pretty crazy animations you get with Legend Box Out Beast this year. If you haven't seen them, you can just throw people out of the way. Helps you get into position if you're out of position, and if you are in position boxing people out, it does a great job of keeping them behind you. Our 88 vertical, I talked about it earlier, but it is one of the things that makes you so much better than those really big centers, because you can just jump right over them. It's actually crazy some of the stuff you can do this year with a high vertical. It's going to help our blocks, our dunks, our rebounding, make us super athletic overall, and it really is one of my favorite stats this year to have super high. 74 speed and 67 agility are also another reason why we're so much better than the 7-footers, or at least have this advantage on them, because we can get up and down the court way faster, play better defense, slide our feet. So you already know we had to max those out and just give ourselves the best advantage we could possibly get. Now that you've seen the whole build though, you know we're really solid defensively, good physicals like I said in the beginning. Pass accuracy is still decent. We get a lot of really, really good dunk animations. And I'll say it over and over again this year, inside centers are still good. Don't sleep on them. You really don't have to be able to shoot on every single build you make. There's pros and cons to each, but these builds are a lot of fun. And I really do think it's going to play exactly like Dwight Howard out there, who I was thinking about as I'm making this, really needs to make a return to the NBA. He's actually super good and better than a lot of the centers that are getting playing time. So I really hope that dude gets a look soon. He's a lot of fun to watch and just a super good basketball player. That being said though, let's check out the build name and the comparisons. So our build name is going to be a defensive anchor with comparisons of Kendrick Perkins, Clint Capella, and Daniel Gafford. Absolutely loving this build. Let me know what you guys think of it down below. Drop a like, drop a sub on your way out, and I will catch you in the next one.